You all told me that after I go to Borneo, I will not want to stay in KL anymore. And well, I just spent 11 days in Borneo, 7 days in Kota Kinabalu, and 4 days in Sarawak, in Kuching. Now, how am I feeling? I just arrived back to KL, and as usual, I do have to say, it feels really, really good to be back here. But that has nothing to really do with Borneo at all. It's just because this has become my home at this point. This is, as much as I'm not a citizen here, I'm not a, I don't have a visa, whatever, right? I haven't been back to the US in almost a year. And so this is where I've spent most of my time. This is where I've been calling home. And so, yeah, every time I come back, it's just like, this is what I'm familiar with. This is, it's always nice to go back home, right? But I have to say, going to Sabah, especially Sabah in this case, Kota Kinabalu for me was a special trip. It was a unique trip, and it quickly became one of my new favorite places here in Malaysia. And I got the feeling very quickly that, that I could live there long term. Now, I of course have to kind of make a decision once I do decide to book a condo for the long term, once I decide to sign a contract, where I'm going to stay, what state, what city. And I want to talk about things. I want to give you my honest perspective on what I'm choosing and why. So I'm thinking that for the most part, I have to stay in KL. I have to make KL the home base. And it's for a couple of different reasons. So as fantastic as Sabah is, and as much as Kota Kinabalu felt like a city I could live in, so much so that, I originally went for a few days and I kept extending my stay a bit more. And I actually, stayed 7 days total, 7 nights. And I didn't really want to leave. I wasn't like eager to leave still. I could have extended another 1 week. Then I went to Kuching, stayed there for 4 nights, and I did like it. It was a nice place to visit, but I couldn't see myself ever living there. I don't think it would be possible for me to live in Kuching. The infrastructure was really a problem for me. It's not walkable, and I don't know. I didn't feel as drawn to it and to stay there long term. But I didn't have a lot of time there. It was just a couple of days. It was just the feeling that I got is that, okay, if I was going to move to Borneo, it would be Sabah. It would probably be Kota Kinabalu. And I haven't been anywhere else in Sabah. Sabah's a big place, and it's not just Kota Kinabalu, right? But knowing myself, I'm a city person. I want to stay in a city. I want to stay somewhere that I can mostly walk. And if I need to, take Grab or whatever, but yeah, that's a very important thing for me. It's one of the more important things for me. And so, coming back, it does feel good to be back in a place where I can walk around. I know where everything is. I know where I can get my clean food and everything. Now, the big upsides for me to KL, like I said, I can get around by walking. That's why I stay in the center. Even if I were to choose like Petaling Jaya, if I did choose to stay outside of the center, I would have to put myself in a place that I can walk to things, and that there's a train as well. There's no real public transportation in Kota Kinabalu to get around. It's, you have to rely on Grab other than walking. I found walking was quite okay for me there. And if I needed to go across town, if I needed to go to a specific place, then yeah, I just took a Grab, and it was very affordable, the Grabs. Otherwise, like, the cost of everything was pretty similar. You know, maybe like a little bit more expensive there, slightly more expensive. But that was more so in like the tourist heavy spots. You know, I feel like in the grocery stores, in the supermarkets, similar, same price. You know, Grab, like, same price. So yeah, here we have a strong train system. KL has a strong train system. And it's something I'm used to coming from New York City. It's like, I took the subway, you know, I took the subway everywhere. And it's just like what I'm used to. And I just find it very difficult, and I feel disconnected when I don't have a train system to get around in. And especially if it's just not possible to walk somewhere. It feels like, yeah, it's not what I want on like a daily basis. So when it comes to staying somewhere long term, if I'm thinking of staying somewhere for 1 year, I need to make sure everything is in line and my day-to-day is going to be smooth, and you know, I'm not going to get stressed trying to get around the city, because it's stressful. You know, getting where you need to go, getting what you need on a regular basis is like the biggest thing for me, you know. So I'm back in KL right now. Now, I'm not choosing to sign a contract or anything right now because I still don't have a visa. I'm still on a tourist visa. I will be applying for the digital nomad visa here, and maybe I will get 1 year or so, which will be great. I do meet the requirements, so it's just a matter of applying and going through the process. So we're gonna see what happens in that regard. For now, I still have not had any issues. You know, of course, all of you tell me, you know, I'm gonna have problems. I'm not gonna be able to stay here on a tourist visa. But you do need to keep in mind that I am traveling often still. You know, I don't typically stay here more than 1 month at a time without leaving for a little bit. And that is a lot more okay with immigration than people staying here for 3 months at a time. Leaving the country, you know, for 1 day, even for a couple days, and then coming back and staying 3 months. They don't like that. That is like what they're looking for the most part, you know. And there is no hard rule of staying 6 months in a year. It's just not a thing. Okay, I've been here almost 5 months, and yeah, I can stay here another 2 months still on my current stay. So it will put me over 7 months staying in the country. And I know I'm walking. I like to, by the way, walk in circles because I just really like Merdeka Square. I find it like a very soothing place to walk around. It's quite quiet to make these videos where I'm like talking on a subject. It's kind of scenic, you know, it's nice, and I think it's like iconic part of Malaysia, especially of Kuala Lumpur. So yeah, I like to make videos here. And I stay somewhat close a lot of the time. But yeah, just been thinking and reflecting on my time in Borneo, and you know, seeing so many comments like, you know, you're not going to want to go back to KL. And I do get what you mean. I mean, there's something special about Sabah and Sarawak as well, because the people are so awesome. You know, the thing that really drew me to Kuching was the people. You know, it was like a special thing. It was very cool. Everyone was just so nice, and like I had really good conversations with people. I was making like friends, acquaintances on a regular basis. And same in Sabah, same thing in Kota Kinabalu. And it's like one of the big things that stood out for me there. You know, it's very different than being here, where, you know, I don't end up meeting people all the time. I really have to make an effort, you know. Now, I ended up making quite a lot of videos in Sabah. I made 6 or 7 videos. I think I made 3 in Kuching as well. And yeah, I didn't feel short of content. I feel like there was a lot to do. And I did not even go anywhere outside of the cities, basically. You know, I was on a very tight budget. It was raining a lot, and so yeah, I pretty much stayed within the cities. And so maybe my opinion could even change further once I really explore Sabah more. As much as I'm a city guy, and Sarawak, but the thing about Sarawak is that people have told me, my subscribers have told me, that once you get outside of Kuching, it actually gets even less walkable, and the infrastructure gets much worse. It's like the main thing that I hear people complain about Sarawak, and the main reason that seems people leave Sarawak to move to KL or other areas outside of KL or wherever, because they grow frustrated. And so I'm not even sure, should I visit places like Miri and Cebu? Am I going to be frustrated there, due to the ease of getting around and things like that? I don't know, right? I will end up visiting just to see. But more than likely, I think like Kota Kinabalu would be the place for me in Borneo as a long-term base if I chose that. I don't know. I've not yet grown tired of KL. That's the thing. Like I don't grow tired of it. I do after staying here for like a month, but then I just leave for a little bit. I leave for I can leave for 1 week, and after that week, I am like very eager to come back, or I'm very thrilled when I get back here every single time without fail. You know, whether I go to Thailand or wherever, it's like I'm kind of ready to go back to Kuala Lumpur. And so I think if I have a good setup in Kuala Lumpur, a good condo in a good location, you know, I get my Southeast Asia license, my international license to drive motorbikes as well as cars. I think just having those things in line, and like it would even take things to the next level, because remember, I've been staying here oftentimes in hotels, sometimes Airbnbs. It depends how long I'm typically here, and I still love it. So I don't know, for example, if I stayed in Kota Kinabalu for 1 month, would I be eager to leave? Would I be like, I don't know, bored? Would I want to leave and then want to come back very quickly? I'm not sure, you know. I'm not making this video as like some expert on like Sabah and KL, not at all. This is just my perspective on the two places after, you know, spending almost 5 months here. Probably 4 months of that time was in KL, or more than 4 months. And so I've just become very familiar with it. You know, it's comfortable. Some people say like, why do you keep going back there? Why don't you try some new things? Guys, I've been like all around the country at this point. I've been to most of the major areas. With the exception of like Terengganu and Johor Bahru. Of course, there's tons more of Malaysia I haven't seen. There's tons of small areas and off the beaten path areas outside the major cities and states, whatever. But, you know, in general, I probably won't ever live in an area that's not like a bit developed and, like I said, like walkable. So, yeah, you know, the options are limited at that point. When you think about the criteria, the options really are like Kuala Lumpur. You know, even Malacca felt like, okay, this is nice. Like, I could probably have a decent life in Malacca. But it didn't sway me from staying in KL. And I think after staying even in KK for 1 week, it felt like more of a fitting place for me. You know, the nature there is really nice. You know, I found my headspace was really good in Sabah. It's just a mix of the nature and like the warm people there. It kept me like in a good mood. You know, I was meeting people every single day, no matter where I went. You know, in the gym, at the pool, in my condo, wherever. You know, just like going to buy food, something. Like I would meet people and we would chat. And a few people, you know, I would take their contact and we would stay in touch. And that doesn't really happen in KL very often. Unless I go out on the weekend, then yes, I meet people in KL. And that is another thing. Like in Kota Kinabalu, there's a lot of like nightlife. And I'm not like a huge nightlife person. You guys know I don't really go out a lot now. Or I don't go hard when I go out. I do like to go out often on the weekend, one night at least, just to get like a social fix, to meet people, to socialize. But I don't drink, you know, I'm not going crazy, I'm not getting intoxicated, so it feels pretty tame, you know. But in Kota Kinabalu, there's like a lot of nightlife. There's almost, it feels like just as much, if not more. It seems like more of a party place than Kuala Lumpur, which is crazy to me. You know, there's actual like super clubs there, big clubs. I didn't actually go to them, but you know, I walked by them and I checked online, and I realized like, oh, this is a place where people come party. You know, this is a place where locals do like to maybe drink a bit. You know, it's also a place where there's a lot of tourists. Like, that was the most tourists I've seen anywhere I've been so far here, was in Kota Kinabalu. Period. You know, especially like the most white tourists. And then like so many Korean and Chinese tourists as well there. You know, I think they love Kota Kinabalu. That's like the biggest demographics there. And so it was really crowded. I expected it to be really chill, like really relaxed, you know, not too much traffic. And that's just not what it is. It's quite a busy, bustling place. And it's slammed with tourists. So if I stayed there again, I would probably stay a little bit away from like so heavy tourism. I mean, but look where I am now. I mean, this is the most touristic area anywhere. So, yeah, staying in KL, I would also like to move somewhere else. You know, that's why I'm considering pedaling Jaya, because I think I will get a different experience. I think I will get more of a real Malaysian experience there than I ever will in KL. So we'll see. I've still not figured it out yet, right? I've still not chosen a place that I'm going to stay for good. I'm still, you know, exploring and figuring out what makes sense for me, so that when I do get a visa here, I'm educated, I'm informed, and I kind of know what I want to do. And so, yeah, I will continue to use KL as my base. You know, I will travel back to Sabah sooner than later. I'd really like to go in like summer season or in like a dry season. Because it just rained too much to do anything I wanted to do. I canceled all my plans for the islands. I canceled going to Kundasang, you know, canceled going to Mount Kinabalu. I had to cancel everything. So I didn't really get that experience, which is what I was going for. But I also didn't expect to just like the main city so much. I didn't expect that Kota Kinabalu would have drawn me in so much either. So it was refreshing. It was really nice. But next time I will do those things, and we'll see, you know, does that change my mind, you know? Maybe I do like living in a place that's more mountains and tranquil nature and stuff like that, because I do like that. I'm really connected to that, and I feel most at peace when I'm in a place like that. But I need to find the place that also has, I guess, the amenities, you know, I guess finding like high quality beef, being able to get around the city, walking, or some kind of, you know, train system. And that's not usually the case with like a nature-filled living place. And I think that's why Kota Kinabalu stuck out, is because, you know, I had a gym, for example, like top floor of the mall, of one of the malls, Center Point Mall, and just like such an incredible view of like mountains, nature, like a beautiful sunset. Like, just, it was a really like amazing place to work out. And something like that, you know, it makes a big deal for my day-to-day, because I go to the gym 5 days a week. You know, I spend a lot of time at home too, so, you know, having a view, that, you know, very green view and a sunset that I can see from my house, it's a big deal too. It's a big deal. Thankfully, Kuala Lumpur is full of green areas as well, and like nature throughout the city. It's one of the reasons I don't feel like trapped here like I did in New York. It's very different, you know. But yeah, like I said, I'm still figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. But it was a bit of an eye-opening trip. It was a bit of a, because I've been a lot of places now in Malaysia, and this was different. This was different, you know. Traveling around peninsular Malaysia is like, everything is different, but similar enough, you know. And this was way different. This was like a different Malaysia. So, what is that? It was nice to see. It was nice to see it. But for now, I'm gonna spend a few days in KL. I'm gonna figure out a plan, you know. I've been working very hard, so yeah, I've been filming every day. So I have like 7 vlogs backlog to upload right now. When you're seeing these vlogs, like, you know, I'm a bit ahead in the future. And so I've been working hard so that I can take a few days off. Maybe I could take a week off and yeah, figure out ideas, do some different work than filming, editing, and stuff like that. So that's the plan. That's where I'm at. You know, it's a little update, a little bit reflecting on my past week, 2 weeks. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. A lot more to come, a lot more cool travels, adventures, and mostly Malaysia content to come.